Hi, everybody. Welcome to Colorbar. I'm Kim Updike here with Betsy Davis. Hi.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm amazing.
Well,
I say that every time. I've realized that as I've watched Colorbar. So let me come up with another word. I'm fantastic.
All right.
Yes.
Very good.
Alive and well.
Alive and well.
Yes.
Well, we love alive and well.
Yes.
We also like being alive and well with our guest today,
Yes.
Harrison Bailey,
Yes.
founder of Smart Elephant,
Love
who,
it.
from what I understand, is coming to us from across the globe.
He is all the way around the globe.
I know.
And he's been there for a while.
I know. Well, hi, Harrison. How are you doing?
Hi guys, yeah, I'm good, thank you. All good over here. Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. And yeah, that's right. I'm in Vietnam right now, so I've been traveling to all sort of places across Asia for the past few months.
Well, we'll call that amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
That is amazing. I know. I'm so jealous. Like, I wish I would have done those moments. So, Harrison, good for you. Good on you that you are taking this time to just go and explore and do all the things, as I like to say. So the last time you and I spoke, you were in Thailand, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Like I said, I'm in Vietnam right now, so I've been traveling to different places for the past few months and visiting print business as well here, actually, which is one of the perks of doing what I do through online work and working with people across the world, and also the print industry in general, and that is global. And what I found is, businesses over here are facing very similar challenges to those in the UK and US.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's great to be out here and be in front of those people. And it's been a great experience so far, as well as the traveling and, seeing things along the way as well.
How did you meet the people in the print industry over in Asia? Was it through D-Scoop? Or how did you meet folks?
Yeah.
Was it?
That's right. It's through D-Scoop, and I found being over here as well, I was a little bit maybe cautious or skeptical might be the right word before coming out as to how how good it would be to be working from out here when people that I work with are all over the world, and also the work environment as well. But I've actually found that there's so many good places to work from which are different every day. And it's opened up a lot of opportunities being out here. But the main way we've been going and meeting people is actually through the D-Scoop network, which is where I met you as well.
Yeah.
So,
I love it.
yeah, it's been good.
I love that. Well, tell us a little bit about Smart Elephant and your journey in being entrepreneurial as well as world traveler. I like it. I like the combination.
Well, and Harrison, I also want you to tell the audience how you came up with Smart Elephant, because I think it is super clever and very on point about what we've all been talking about the next generation of talent. And so I think your Smart Elephant name will resonate.
Absolutely.
And fits perfectly. So yeah, talk a little bit about it.
Sure. So, Smart Elephant, essentially, we're an AI and software consultancy. So we build bespoke AI, automation, and software systems to help businesses operate more efficiently. So it usually starts with understanding a business's problem that they're facing, or a pain point they want to address, usually very custom to each client we work with. Agnostic is the word I like to use because we work with all technologies and all software stacks to help a solution work for the business rather than the other way around. So that's a bit of an overview, but it's much deeper than that, and there's meaning behind the name. So I started Smart Elephant a few years ago in university to address the elephants in the room, if you will, around AI and students, which are, well, AI is business critical, and you need to be investing and exploring how AI can impact your business. But many businesses are still quite closed off or don't know where to begin exploring, or even the opportunity they can unlock by starting and seeing what other people are doing. And AI is still often seen as expensive or highly complicated and time consuming. So that's the first one. The second one is there's a persistent perception or stigma that the next generation of talent is inexperienced or unreliable or unmotivated in general. And I'm here to tell you that that's just not the case.
Right.
So we aim to remove those elephants in the room. And our belief is that the businesses which are going to be the most successful and shape the future of the industry will be those that connect the next generation of talent, who have grown up leveraging AI and these technologies with real world challenges, because you're going to create the next generation of pioneers in your business. And I can go more in depth on how we help with that and our sort of model, which helps combine the student talent with industry as well.
I
But
would
that's the
love,
basic premise of it.
yeah, I would love for you to do that. But I first want to ask you, you did start this in university 3 or 4 years ago. I mean, it's been a while. So obviously, how did you even recognize the need for that? Because it feels like we're all just starting to really talk about AI
And
here
you
in
were
the States.
way ahead of it.
And you were way ahead of it. How did you recognize the need for it 3, 4 years ago in university?
Well, actually, it's been a bit of a journey. And when I first started Smart Elephant, I've got a strong data background, and as you know, I worked at DScoop as a business analyst, which is where we met, and I learned the intricacies of the industry, and that's my background. So it actually started out more focused on the data side of things, but as generative AI was becoming more of a thing people were aware of, that's when I sort of made that transition to that side of things. But I mean, I've always had a bit of a business mindset, or been really interested in business and technology ever since I was young. So I built my own computers. I've had other ventures in the past, some of which worked and many which didn't. But every time, I learned something new. And what I realized about myself quite early on is that I learn best from doing rather than reading about things. So university was fantastic from a knowledge perspective, but pursuing my goals alongside that is what gave me the ability to apply what I was learning to the real world, which heavily links to our ambitions at the Smart Elephant. And it's something that I'm very passionate about and believe in. So it was sort of as things generative AI was coming more into the forefront, and I sort of noticed the opportunity, because most of the time, it's more close to home, I guess, the opportunity that's there. It doesn't always have to be this big thing, where you can actually, unlock real value. So that's sort of how I went down the AI path with Smart Elephant in the last year or so.
Did you know that you always wanted to be an entrepreneur and start your own business and be yours? Or did you ever consider going into the corporate world, if you will? Or did you always know that I want to do my own thing?
Good question. I mean, like I said, I've had other ventures in the past, and I've always sort of had that mindset of trying to do what I'm, you know, passionate about and believe in. And another reason that I love what I do as well is it gives me the flexibility to work from different places, like where I am now or in my daily routine, which I like. And since graduating in November last year, I've fully committed to that path, and Smart Elephant is growing internationally. And we've recently established our UAE entity as well to strengthen our presence in that massively growing region. So there's a lot of reasons behind it, but it just felt natural to me and is what I'm most passionate about and actually like doing. And I have had other work experiences in the past, but I found that I've learned a lot more through trial and error myself.
Yeah, you always do.
Right.
Right? Well, it's like
Yeah.
when we were talking with Rich
Yeah.
the other day, definitely one who jumps off and builds the plane on the way down.
Yes.
This one, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So you were saying that you could give us more examples of things that you've been doing from an AI perspective, and would love to hear specifically, just because so many of our viewers are from the print industry. What things have you been seeing that people need help with, and maybe a couple of great case studies of where you've been able to build one of those bespoke programs that have sincerely helped the business?
Yeah. So we work with lots of forward-thinking businesses in the industry on their AI initiatives, and there are so many really practical use cases across different areas of the business, which I can share. And I think it's really interesting as well because AI is sort of pushing print businesses to think less like traditional printers and more in terms of the technologies they use and how they all connect. And I know print has obviously always been an innovative industry and adapted, whether that was from offset to digital, and web to print and variable print and more connected workflows. So I see AI and advanced automations as sort of that next step in that evolution. And another thing I'd want to touch on as well is this very interesting statistic, which is by 2030, 50% of global consumers will be millennials or Gen Z. So there's a shift in demographic, and these generations are sort of shaping the expectations that modern businesses must adapt to. So things like personalization, on-demand services, automations, and I think businesses that understand and respond to these shifts will lead their industries, and those that don't risk falling behind. So our role at Smart Elephant is to help businesses adapt by bringing the forward thinking and the technical capability required to navigate this next generation of change and connect businesses and the latest talent through our university model, which I can touch more on. But one of the big areas in which we're working in is automation and optimization of processes. So we've implemented things like quote automation, reporting tools where people can ask questions in neutral language and it generates reports on the fly, tools for customer communication. So where it might take someone, an hour to get back to a potential client or a prospect, or maybe longer if they're busy or they're on their break, or whatever it may be, it's meant to automate that interaction, ensuring the quote, for example, is accurate and it understands the context and it gets back to them in seconds or minutes, which is actually the biggest factor when it comes to turning over quotes, the speed at which you reply over the actual cost.
Absolutely.
So yeah, there's loads of things like that. We're also doing work around things like order scheduling and forecasting, where even a small increase in efficiency can have a huge overall impact on the business and operations. Then you've got storefronts and workflows where the opportunity is around creating new storefronts much faster and making sure they're properly integrated with the rest of the systems in the business. And that's really about reducing friction from the point an order comes in through to production, but also automating the creation and design of storefronts and products themselves. And we've got a great case study out there with a company called Blooming Colour. I'm sure they won't mind me naming them, who we work with on their storefront development. And we've saved them tons of time and money as well. So that's really good. And then there's the marketing side of things where there's a huge amount of opportunity as well. And one area working on at the moment is called GEO, Generative Engine Optimization, which, as you know, is about how businesses are discovered through AI platforms, how they can become cited and also recommended to potential customers over competitors. So there's lots of different use cases and different verticals of the business which it can affect.
Everyone you just said, I'm like, need it,
Right.
need that one too.
I should have brought it.
We know. I'm like,
Taking
Harrison, we
notes.
need to talk after this. Like, that's what I said the last time I talked to him. I'm like, we need to talk.
Yeah.
Speaking of the GEO, you are working with us. Sandy, Digital Inc., and Smart Elephant have just started working on our GEO. So they've done an analysis, and I'm sure we have lots of room for opportunity. And so, so we've just started that process so people can find Sandy more whenever they're
On an
doing
AI
searches
platform.
on AI platforms, right? So I'm excited for that exercise and for us to improve and hopefully do some more lead generation through that process.
Well, I also thought what Harrison mentioned was that by using the GEO, of course I'll get this wrong through the whole time, but that's okay. But that it actually can make recommendations.
Yes.
Like you
Yeah,
wanna
that's right.
use-
That's right.
I mean, that's really in my brain somewhat of a huge game changer, because all of a sudden it's not just your company name, and a few lines through a search. It's actually, this is why. Like, it almost sounds like it takes it a step further. So it's just not a search engine with some words attached to it. It's a recommendation as to why you may want to do business or reach out.
Well, and I love the citation part too, because we've all done it. Like, we've asked AI to provide us with something, and they'll give a statistic or give something, and then they cite where they found it, and
Yes.
it gives the website. And I think that's what you're speaking about, right, Harrison? So if somebody does research, it could be cited from our site, as as an example, correct?
Yeah, exactly. And also, like I said, recommended to potential customers over competitors.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
also making sure you're referenced positively and as a source of authority rather than negatively, because you can be referenced more, but it may not always be positive. So it's looking at the sentiment and also looking ahead as well at how you can facilitate transaction through these tools. So things like OpenAI's instant checkout integration with the agentic commerce protocol and Stripe or Etsy and Shopify and the steps that need to be taken to do that. So it's incorporating all these things. But as you said, we're piloting it with you, and it's something that we're looking to bring out to the industry and more people over time. And we're working on it in conjunction with Digital Link, our partners. So we're really excited about it, and it's going to be good.
So we're going to
It
make a
is.
case study with Digital Link and Smart Elephant once it's complete, and so we'll make sure to keep everybody
Yes.
posted and share it. So you've been traveling the world, talking to all these people. Where do you see, like you mentioned, a handful of use cases of where we should be using AI more, but if we were to even just take it a step further, like where do you see the biggest opportunity? Where is it headed? What's the future look like that you're excited about?
Well, good question. And well, it's always changing week by week. So the biggest task is staying on top of everything and making sure we keep up to date. Because the second I feel like I have a good understanding of where everything's at, then before you know it, there's a new tool or something else that comes out, and I got to start looking again. But I think it's only gonna be more and more people that are understanding the benefits and trying to take advantage and incorporate AI into their business. And like I said, it's our job at Smart Elephant to try and help them with that change. And I think it also helps the brands that they're supporting. So, the businesses who embrace AI into their operations and become automated, everything becomes more efficient and improves on their customers' end by having faster turnaround times and more consistency and a smoother overall experience as well. So the impact is very external. And for businesses implementing it, they're becoming more efficient, they're becoming more optimized, and they're getting more out of their machinery and more out of their staff, but ultimately more out of their customers because of the improved experience and reach, and therefore more profitable. So I think, coming back to your question, it's only going to keep scaling from here, and the capabilities are going to keep becoming greater and greater. So it heavily ties back into what we're doing at Smart Elephant in trying to create pioneers and the next generation coming through, because they'll be the ones that can help with this change and keep up to date with everything that's going on, and then help you shape the industry.
So we haven't given you an opportunity to talk about your methodology, your team, I guess, at Smart Elephant. And so talk a little bit about the individuals that you're using at Smart Elephant that are helping you do this. Speaking of innovators and the next generation.
Yeah, of course. So like I said, it's our job to sort of connect businesses and the latest talent through our university model. So our model is simple but effective, which is combining our experienced leadership with the next generation of talent. So the way it works is we're partnered with leading UK universities and expanding. So I mentioned with other entities set up in the UAE, so we're trying to expand out there and do the decent academia program into different areas. So it's local, but through our affiliation with these universities, we've got access to the top performing students who are specializing in AI and data analytics and software engineering. So for each project, we assemble domain-specific teams that combine our core team of experienced developers with the carefully selected students from top universities who are specialists. And it works really, really well because as a business, it allows us to move faster and
quickly, yeah.
think differently. Think differently without the inefficiencies of a traditional consultancy. And for businesses we work with, it means access to highly capable teams with fresh thinking. And for students as well, it means real world exposure, paid work, mentorship, and the opportunity to build a meaningful career while studying. So it's a genuine, win-win model, and it's designed to benefit everybody that we work with.
Is brilliant.
It is brilliant. I was gonna go for really cool, but brilliant is definitely probably more along the lines. But just love the idea of integrating new ideas and fresh thinking in, with the next generation of talent, and then, just that whole model as far as you do get some real world experience while you're at university. You are able to make a living and get, and mentoring, but just, to Harrison's point earlier about, with technology and where we are and how everything changes so fast, and tomorrow may look different than today, and staying out in front of that, and then just making that business integration transition smoother, to help our clients is just, it's just outstanding. I mean, it's really very, very smart, pun intended. It is very, very smart. So
it is very smart.
I think it's just a very revolutionary way to look at doing business and bringing solutions, especially in our industry. I mean, it's, print has been, the print's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years, right? So where is Gutenberg when you need him? And so just at the speed of where technology is and integrating that into our business, into aspects of the business that when you and I sat here a year ago and had our first conversation about AI, and neither one of us was really sure how we felt about it, to now, what that powerful platform can provide and really change how we think and do our jobs is just truly amazing. And to have people like Harrison and Smart Elephant be able to partner with us to make it a reality is even better.
Yeah. Well, and I just think about the people, Harrison, I'm sure that you've come across that you're working with now that are in university that are, I'll use the word brilliant again, and like this unknown talent that's just sitting there ready to go out into the world, but you're giving them those opportunities already. And so I think it's just a really cool way to tap into just magnificent talent that we wouldn't know of otherwise, and to give them that opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah, because the students really are the superpower. And especially when you get the top performing students that really know their craft and they've grown up leveraging these technologies all their lives, they come in and it's a game changer, really.
So I have a question for you. You talk about how it's changing every week and how you're trying to even keep up with it. But for the plebes, the little people.
We're talking about me, Harrison.
No, and me, that don't live in your world every day. But I even struggle with, like, when I was at D-Scoop last week, I kept hearing about just different platforms that people have started using. And I'm like, I hadn't even heard of that one yet. What would you suggest to us as a way to, keep up with what's happening or different platforms? Is there a way to do that?
Yeah, there's lots of ways. Although I think sometimes it can feel quite, it's easy to feel like it's evolving so fast and you can't keep up with it. Because actually, when you've gone and researched one platform and one tool which has come out, and somebody else has gone and done that for a different one, then it seems like you're almost missing the trick when they're talking about their tool that's come out. But there's so many out there. It is hard to keep up. And then also when you start to understand how these different platforms operate, and that it's the technicals behind it, in that they're using other models and giving it context for their whatever situation, whatever application they're trying to build, and then giving it an interface and a front end and putting it out there as their sort of platform, then it also gets a little bit easier to keep up with, because when you understand the technicals, it's more so the large models that are coming out from people like OpenAI and Google, and the new capabilities that are come out to which can be really interesting, as well as the way different businesses are using them to create these different platforms. But me personally, the way I keep up with it is I always try and do as much research as I can Even following things on LinkedIn or different social media platforms for updates daily, I find really helpful myself. But also, like I said, I learn best from actually doing. So with when we are working with people and it's expanding and growing quite quickly, and we see all these different use cases under different verticals, that helps me just, I guess, in my mind, think of everything that's possible and open my eyes to everything else that's out there. And then part of our job as well as the consultancy is to understand the business problems and what solution we can put in place to fix that, rather than what people might have set in their mind might not always be the right thing. Sometimes it actually might be a software problem rather than an AI problem still. So it's about using the right technologies and tools for the job and understanding the best thing to implement in that issue.
Yeah, because like I think
Yeah.
about Kim and I had this conversation last night that some are better for marketing, potentially writing, and having a certain voice and tenor
Yes.
about how you're approaching it. But I'm sure there's probably a better one to do reporting and forecasting, as you mentioned. And so I feel like I need to have like four that I have at my fingertips, depending on what I'm asking it to help me with today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, well, even when we were talking about it and I was telling you about the Kim writing tool that we created. So, and that we did it using Claude, which I had not been familiar with. Did not know who Claude was, but we are good friends now. And and then it was interesting too, because, and like I said, I am totally a newbie at this, Harrison. So I'm sure this is all old news, but after we kind of put in all of the guardrails, so to speak, on how I would write something and kind of, put all of that in, I actually then went into Chat GPT, which I had used, and then you can export out like your history with Chat GPT, and then you like upload it into Claude. So Claude is now familiar. It was easier than switching banks. It was, what I mean? You're like, I can't leave my
Yeah.
bank. I've been here forever. It's going to be too much work to get a new account. I was like, oh my gosh, Chat GPT and I just got to know each other.
Yeah, we're almost married.
We were almost married.
Yeah,
and
me and
now
Big
I'm
G.
leaving. Now I'm leaving him for another
Yeah.
man. It just seemed wrong. But anyway, but it was interesting how you can take your history and you export your data,
love
and then
this.
you
Good to know.
import your data. And like I said, I'm using it on the
Yeah.
most basic, of levels. But from a marketing and creative side, that was the platform that was recommended. So we'll give it a whirl in my own beta testing. But
Yeah. Yeah.
But to your point, different platforms seem to maybe lean one way or another.
Yeah, no, you're right, Kim. It's all about applying context to the situation. So, different LLMs are good for different things, or they all might be good for everything, but some will, be better than others for things like language translation, or as you said, for marketing and creating content versus helping with code, for example. So it's about assessing the right tool for the job, as I said. For things like chatbots, it's testing the right, chunking methods and embedding algorithms and things like that to make it balance what you're trying, the output, what you're trying to achieve, whether that be how accurate it is versus how speedy the chatbot is in its replies, which one gives you the best answers, which are grounded in the most context. So it's always, yeah, taking the different models, applying context to the situation, and assessing which one does the best job.
Two more things for you before we leave. And you mentioned it at the very top of the call about people's mindsets around the next generation of talent, which you have now tapped into to help the Smart Elephant. What would you say to people that are my age hiring if we had misconceptions, which we work with such talented people
Oh, yes.
all the time that I don't have any misconceptions, I don't think anymore. But what would you say are the misconceptions that people have about individuals your age that are entering the marketplace that you're like, nope, watch out, watch me, watch us perform? What would you say about the misconceptions and how we should think about it differently?
Yeah, great question. Like I said, that's something that is very core to what we're trying to disprove at the Smart Elephant, the stigma and perception around students, and that they can be unmotivated or inexperienced, or lazy sometimes, which might be true for some students, but not for everyone. So another element of that as well is when I'm speaking to people, or even when I was younger myself, or um, exploring what was out there, and taking on different opportunities and roles, what I found is that businesses actually found it hard themselves to attract and retain the latest talent as well. So it's about bridging the gap to help them attract the latest talent, bring the next generation into the industry, and also for the students as well. But like I said, the students really are the superpower, and what helps us to be different, position ourselves differently, and think differently. And you know, a lot of them have grown up leveraging these technologies, and AI has been around for a while as well. It's only with the likes of generative AI tools that it's become more apparent to everybody, and people are starting to actually try and use it with the advances it's made. So you speak to some of these students, and they know more than me sometimes when it comes to some of the new things that are coming out. Um, so combining that with our experienced developers who um, know the formalities and know the best routes to take, and can sort of help guide, but also in a collaborative environment, is really powerful. And that's sort of, yeah, what helps us differentiate from other people and think differently, and not be weighed down by the traditional ways of working. So it's about, you know, embracing this next generation, embracing the next generation of the industry with AI as well, and sort of bringing it all together is what we're trying to do.
We talk about, you said, bridging the gap and retaining and finding them and retaining them. What do we need to be thinking about that you all want, like you're out traveling and still running in this business and having great success doing it? What are the things that we need to be thinking about, that we need to stop thinking about the traditional ways of how we've run our businesses before, that would probably help us retain and find this amazing talent that's out there? Thoughts, ideas for us to consider?
Um, well, I actually did a webinar on this for another agency, talking about retaining and attracting the latest talent as well. And I think, if I can remember back to there, but also just how I feel is, it's about being present, and being in a place where people can find you as well, and being accessible. So if things like, I attended an event in Leeds a couple months ago, which was like a careers fair, but also there's different universities there. So I was invited to go and talk about what we're doing at Smart Elephant and the sort of student model that we have. Um, but that was great because there was lots of businesses out in people's faces for students to interact with. So things like D-Scoop and the academia program, very powerful, because there's lots of good case studies where a student has actually gone and got experience working for a business, and it's gone really well, and they're gonna continue. So I think that's definitely one thing. Another thing that the next generation value is, like I said, sort of the flexibility with work, and that doesn't have to be like they can work from everywhere, or they work from home. But I guess it's about giving them freedom to um, be themselves, be disruptive, and actually figure things out for themselves, and also mentorship. So uh, there's lots of ups and downs, and the journey of entrepreneurship, I'm sure and what I found for me is, you actually trust people and allow them to you know allow them to actually do their thing, rather than trying to dummy proof everything all the time. What you find is, I think Erin Meyer actually said this when we were at D Scoop in, um, was it Long Beach or Indianapolis? I can't remember. Maybe Long Beach. But it was, yeah, if you dummy proof a system, then you create dummies by extension. So it's actually giving people, the freedom to go and, you know, figure things out, and bring their energy into it, I guess. So mentorship without being restrictive of what they can do. So hopefully that makes sense.
Totally taking that
Yes.
and learning from that. Like, listen, you don't learn without failure. You've talked about how you've done things that have worked and things that have not worked, and I'm sure the things that haven't worked helped you learn even more so than the ones that did.
It usually
And
happens that way.
yeah,
you know?
and I'm also learning that this generation is much better at pivoting quicker, because like things are changing so quickly that I think that we tend to just keep doing things and trying to force it to make it work, and to be able to recognize that things aren't working, pivot quickly.
Yeah.
I think is
Yes.
something that this generation does much better than we've done traditionally, and that we could all learn from. But yeah, I love the whole, if you dummy proof it, you're
Creating a
you're
dummy.
creating
Dummy
dummies by
dummies.
extension.
Addition.
I think is fabulous. Whoever said that, I think is brilliant.
That is great. Yes.
And I don't know why I keep saying brilliant. That's my word for the day.
That's the. Well,
Yeah,
that's
it's
okay.
because we're in here with Harrison, who is
brilliant.
brilliant. I know. So before we go, I want to give you an opportunity, because, like I said, as soon as you started talking, I'm like, we could use you for this and this and this and this. And I hope others hear this and recognize opportunities that they could also tap into your talent. What does that look like if Sandy Alexander reached out to Smart Elephant? What does that process look like for you to come in and do consulting, or to recognize, here's a couple of really quick wins that can make a big impact on the business? What does that look like if we wanted to engage with you?
First, you have to sit down and you have to have a meeting, and you have to understand more about the business and the technologies they use and the issues they're facing. Most people approach us with issues they have in mind, or opportunities where they think that they could be improved or optimized to get efficiency. So that helps, because it means you can look at the system and actually identify the root cause, and work with them to get the best outcome. And typically the way we work with people is a bit of an extension to their dev team. So we like working with people who are innovative and more of a partnership, where it's a collaboration. You're both trying to achieve the same goal, rather than sort of being thrown something and then get on with it, and it's a bit not connected. So we like to work with people on that, across their business on different initiatives. And what we find is what might start with one actually unlocks efficiency gains and saves time and saves money, which then allows you to work on the next one, and it sort of spirals and snowballs to the point where you're working on loads of different initiatives at the same time. So that's great. But yeah, it typically starts with sitting down with the business, understanding the technologies they're using, the problem at hand, and then mapping out the solution from there based on the requirements and what people are looking to get out of it and the goals of the project.
So if they wanted to find you, where do we send them? We'll put this up. If you're viewing it, we'll
Yes.
put this up on screen. But for those just listening, how can they reach Mr. Harrison Bailey for help?
Yeah. So we have a website, which is smartelephant.co.uk, but we're working on a new one. So that's underway and is going to be coming out very soon, which I'm very excited for. Other ways you can reach me is I'm on LinkedIn, and all my details are on there as well. So you can reach out to me personally there.
Awesome.
And also my mobile number's on there as well. So feel free to just give us a call, and we can chat through some things. But yeah, those are the main ways.
Awesome. Well, listen, this was fascinating. I couldn't be more proud of you and what you're doing. And I love that you're out traveling the world and helping. Whenever you were like, yeah, my international customers, I'm like, this is so fun and amazing.
It is.
So thank you for helping all of us be better at our jobs, keeping us on our toes with AI.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Making
thanks for
us
joining.
better.
Huh?
I said, he's making us better.
He's making us better.
And
I like
smarter.
it.
So I like it.
And smarter.
Better and smarter. It's a good way to go.
No problem.
Well,
Thank you guys as well.
Thank you for joining us.
having me
Be
on,
safe
and
traveling wherever you're headed next. Have fun. Be safe.
Thank you. I will.
Okay. I'll see you soon. And thanks everybody for joining Colorbar. Don't be the elephant in the room. Go get smarter with Smart
right.
Elephant. And we'll see you soon. Thanks everybody.